We look at Transformers The Ride 3D and the movie that inspired it on episode 340 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Hey everyone, I'm your host for this one. I am Lee, and joining me is my good lady wife Tracy.
Hello.
And Darren.
What's up, Internet? That intro was a really yay and boo kind of situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Chris is still not here, so joining us is Maddie. Hey Maddie.
Hello.
Yes, I punished everyone. Chris knew, I didn't actually tell Chris that we were recording a Transformers episode before he decided he wasn't going to be here, but I think he would have purposefully not been here. I made him watch it. So
that was an option.
No, it was not an option. It was an option for Chris because he was going to Universal.
Only one person, yeah. Only one person can get off the show, yeah.
Could have found something to do.
Look.
Chris beat us to it.
So we are going to continue our look at the movie-based attractions at Universal Studios Florida, like we have previously with Despicable Me and Shrek. And obviously the next one in the list is Transformers The Ride 3D, and we'll be discussing the movie that inspired it as well. So first off, we are going to look at Transformers, not Transformers the movie, because that's something else, but Transformers. The Michael Bay one from 2000. Well, anyway, go on, Darren.
Well, the Transformers movie opened in the U.S. on June 27th, 2007, and was directed by Michael Bay 12 years ago.
Yeah. It starred Shia LaBeouf as Sam Witwicky, Megan Fox as Michaela Baines, Josh Duhamel, is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know.
Dumel.
Whatever. Josh as Captain Lennox. Peter Cullen returned to reprise his role from cartoons as Optimus Prime, but Frank Welker was replaced by Hugo Weaving as the voice of Megatron.
Boo.
The movie budget was a budget of $150 million, and it actually made $709.7 million in the box office and spawned 4 sequels and a brand new spin-off movie called Bumblebee.
Which I have not seen, but I've heard is far superior to any of the ones that came before it.
Not difficult.
It's actually called John Cena, featuring Bumblebee. All right, well, let's go through the movie's plot and discuss it.
That's tenuous.
Yes. Well, the cool part is here, I guess, in the story. Several thousand years ago, the planet Cybertron was consumed by a civil war between the two Transformer factions, the Autobots led by Optimus Prime and the Decepticons led by Megatron. Optimus jettisoned the Allspark, a mystical artifact that brings life to the planet into space, but Megatron pursued it. Megatron crashed into Earth, landing in the Arctic Circle and froze, and was discovered in 1895 by explorer Archibald Witwicky. It's so great to hear the robots say that, too. Witwicky. Witwicky inadvertently activated Megatron's navigational system, which etched the Allspark's coordinates into his glasses. The glasses end up in the possession of his great-grandson, Sam Witwicky.
Of course it did. How are we gonna do this? Are we gonna talk bit by bit, or are we just gonna discuss the whole film at the end?
I think we can do bit by bit because we can say some good things at that point, at least. Like this part, I like. This part, I'm cool with this one. Up to this point, it's great.
Yeah. It sets it up quite well, you know.
Yeah, and that's it's cool that Megatron has been there for thousands of years, crashed into the ice, and it just took a stupid person to accidentally break him out.
Of course. Well, isn't that what always happens?
Stupid humans.
Yep.
Yeah.
But this is my favorite part of the movie. It's all downhill from this point.
Yeah. So in the present, Blackout attacks and destroys a United States military base in Qatar in a failed attempt to hack the military network to find information on Megatron and the Allspark. A surviving team of Army Rangers led by Captain William Lennox escapes across the desert, pursued by Blackout's drone Scorponok. I just love Scorponok. They fight Scorponok off, aided by aerial reinforcements, and travel home with Scorponok's Stinger, discovering Sabot rounds?
Sabo.
Damaged in its armour. At the Pentagon, Secretary of Defense John Keller leads the investigation into the attack. Sound analyst Maggie Madsen catches another Decepticon, Frenzy, hacking into the military network while on board Air Force One. While the hack is thwarted, Frenzy downloads files in Archibald's glasses, tracking down Sam with Barricade, disguised as a police car.
Okay, this is also cool.
Frenzy. Oh my God, and he walked out the cinema. That was it. I was done.
So this whole section is what's wrong with this film. Because that first blackout section is like, when I remember going to the cinema and going, oh my God, I am so in. Because when it first, like, you've got like the sinister helicopter coming in.
Yeah.
And them trying to contact it, and it's still coming in, and it drops down, and it transforms, and they actually use the proper Transformers noise when it transforms, and then all hell breaks loose. I was like, oh my God, this is what I want from a Transformers film.
Yeah. And, you got Scorponok literally, like, swimming through the sand, and it was just like, oh my God.
But it's that whole bit when Josh What's-His-Face is on the phone trying to contact someone back in America, and he gets the dodgy Indian call center, like...
Have you heard about that upgrade service?
It's just... And
then just don't get me started on Frenzy. I despise Frenzy with a passion.
Maddie, you're very quiet at this point.
These movies, man.
You say it all, I hear the tone.
No, that's it. That's all Maddie needs to say, and you know exactly how she feels about these films. It's when it jumps out of the helicopter and is walking across the runway with its hand like held up to his face, going.
You know, I basically want to throw up punch the TV at that point.
I like when it's the boombox, and then they walk by, and then it has to do like the eyes going back and forth to let you know that it was the boombox.
Yeah, because we're all stupid, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, my favorite part is when they're like showing everyone the technology, and they like turn the cell phone into the alien creature, and he's like, Motorola's. They're bitches.
I've got a Motorola. It's the stupid noises it makes, though. It's like, and
it's like breaking the glass. Oh man,
it's so bad. But I mean, the actual, like the designs of the robots are really good. For all they don't necessarily look like the characters that. To put it out there, as a kid, I was a huge Transformers fan. I mean, obsessed.
You've never mentioned that.
I had all the toys and I watched the cartoons religiously. I was just obsessed with it. So for all they don't look like what they look like, I thought they did a decent job on sort of bringing them and making them what they would realistically look like if they were real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they transform really cool too.
Oh yeah.
They like transform in midair and they make that cool noise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would say the action sequence here, where it's robot versus people, is a lot more effective than what we're going to see later. Because when it's robot versus robot, Michael Bay's tight camera shots and everything like that, you have no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is the parts where you can actually like appreciate what's going on with it.
Yeah.
Like you said, when Blackout's changing and when they're fighting Scorpion, you know, calling the airstrikes in, and the dust, you're waiting for the dust to clear to see it. Did it get him this time? You know, that part is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I ever watched this movie, it was like my family, we were sitting in our living room, which is connected to our kitchen, and we had all of our kitchen lights on, and like 10 minutes into the movie, we were like, we have to turn these lights off. We cannot see. It's filmed so dark.
Yeah.
That like our house had to be pitch black to even really like focus on what was going on.
And so the explosions can be brighter.
Yeah.
And they all just look so sweaty and dirty all the time.
Yeah. So Mike May likes his men, I guess.
Darren's opinions aren't necessarily those of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast or the people attached to it.
Lee kissed a cannibal this weekend. Anyway.
No one has a clue what's going on right now.
Yeah.
I did it. I liked it.
Oh my goodness.
Maddie, would you like to continue, please?
Yeah. All right. Meanwhile, Sam buys his first car, a very rusty Chevrolet wow, I can't say that word for some reason. Camaro, there we go. But discovers it has a life of its own. Sam and his high school crush, Michaela Baines, are rescued by Barricade and Frenzy. by the Camaro, who turns out to be an Autobot scout named Bumblebee. But he is mute and has to communicate through the car's radio. Previously, sending a beacon to his fellow Autobots, Bumblebee takes Sam and Michaela to meet his new arrivals, Optimus, Jazz, Ironside, and Ratchet. Optimus explains the details.
By the way, Maddie.
Oh, what did I say?
Ironside.
He was in a
He was
wheelchair.
a guy in a wheelchair.
It might have been a Transformer. You don't know.
I don't even know where that came from. Whoops. Optimus explains the details of the situation, revealing that if Megatron gained the power of the Allspark, he would transform Earth's machinery into a new army and exterminate mankind. Sam, Michaela, and the Autobots travel to Sam's house to retrieve the glasses, but the teenagers are captured by the agents of Sector 7, a top-secret paramilitary government branch led by Seymour Simmons. The Autobots stop the agents, but they call for backup, who take Sam, Michaela, and Bumblebee into custody, while Optimus obtains the glasses and then uses them to locate the Allspark.
Go on then, who wants to take the house scene?
Oh, God, this is where it really starts to just go downhill.
You know,
Those
we really
parents.
we skipped over a lot. I'm going to say, you know, his friend hangs upside down from a tree. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
At the lake. We didn't talk about the lake at
Yeah.
all. Little kids hung out the lake. They tried to hang out the lake, you know. They couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't hang. He tried to drive her home. Bumblebee, you know, tried to make it a very weird situation.
Yeah.
Bumblebee, you can't force yourself onto women. Like, you can't force me to force myself onto women. This is not a good thing.
I wonder where the idea to make Bumblebee mute came from and why.
Because it's cool to have him go through the radio.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Wasn't his voice box was damaged in something? Isn't that what we find out in Bumblebee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so so he just uses the radio to go scan back and forth and find out what he wants to say through it, which is cool, I think.
I'd rather he
I
just
got
talked.
you.
It works.
Yeah, exactly. This is the coolest part of the ride, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that later. I was going to say something there, and I was going to show my hand there, but I won't. But that bit at the house when they're like, "Are you in there masturbating?" No, I've not masturbated.
Oh, that's just
it's like
freaking
really.
ridiculous.
Oh my god.
Anytime that humans come into this, it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely.
The parents are so cringeworthy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It make no sense, and they're just like, oh.
I said to Tracy last night when we were watching it that they focus too much on the humans, and this film's called Transformers, not Humans.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's the bit when they're acting like the toddlers
Yeah.
and they can't stand still for it. They are machines at the end of the day that can do that perfectly. You know, and then they're hiding under the porch and behind trees, and it's just like, oh, for God's sake.
It is really
seriously.
annoying. It's like the middle section of the film is horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if you took this whole section out, it'd be all right. It's like, what's his face? I can't think what he's called now. It was Simmons, the Sector 7 agent. What's his name? I want to say John Turturro. Is that right?
Yeah.
He is so annoying. And I like him as an actor. But I think it was more in the second one when I switched off from him when he's like, I am underneath the enemy's scrotum. And like, no, done now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just, I did think it was quite sad where they had Bumblebee strapped down and they were spraying him with the nitrogen or whatever it was to try and freeze him. It was quite I actually found myself not getting choked up, I know.
Yeah, right. Lee was crying.
I wasn't crying, but it was
That's where
quite
the tissues have
sad.
gone.
Because for all everyone always blasts Megan Fox, I actually think she's pretty decent in it. I know she's there to be the eye candy. I don't think she's bad in it, actually.
Decent in it. What is she? What line where you're like, wow, she's intriguing?
All of them.
Yeah, no.
She's the
like
only
that.
one who doesn't overact
Yeah, agreed.
the entire time.
Well, yeah, because she's
A
like,
bad actor.
underacting, like,
Because she
like
can't
her eyes are dead. Her eyes are dead. She's just like straightforward, like whatever.
I didn't think she was bad in it anyway.
I'd just have to say, though, that Shia LaBeouf was not as annoying as I remember it.
No.
However, I do believe that this could be because he got more and more annoying and then basically went insane and imploded.
Just
Yeah.
do it!
So, concept. No, that's not the word. Context. That's the word I'm looking for. So, yeah. If you hate somebody now, go and look at some of their earlier stuff. It'd be really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird to me that he looked older in this movie than he does now. Somehow, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, look more mature. Maybe not older, more mature.
Yeah. Before he lost his mind.
He's a weird one, isn't he? Such a strange.
Yeah.
Weird one, isn't he? Such a strange.
Yeah.
But hey, when you make this much money when you're that young,
Exactly.
Yeah.
movies, that can happen.
Darren, move us along.
Okay, sorry. The humans respectfully connected to the Transformers are gathered together at the Hoover Dam by Sector 7's director, Tom Banachek. Hi, Tom Banachek here. He reveals Megatron, still frozen, and the Allspark Frenzy, who smuggled away in Michaela's bag, summons Starscream and Decepticon forces and sabotages Megatron's cryonic system. Bumblebee is released to protect the Allspark, shrinking it to a handheld size so it can be transported to safety. Megatron escapes the dam after thawing out. Frenzy attacks Secretary Keller, Madsen, and Agent Simmons in the dam's radio room, trying to prevent them from summoning the Air Force, but is decapitated by his own ricocheting shuriken.
See, I actually laughed a couple of times at this, and I probably shouldn't have done. I think my mindset's changed with humour in films a little bit, and I accept it for what it is, because it bounces, ricochets around, doesn't it, and then hits him in the head, and he goes, oh, and then falls over. And I actually laughed at Jesse, just looked at me as if to say, I don't know you.
Yeah. You'll be hearing from our lawyers.
Well, it's Simmons, not Simmons.
Any little bit of joy you can find in it. It's, I think that's what it's
End
happening.
credits. That's the joy.
It's the Australian lass who was in Jessica Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And then the coloured guy, I can't remember what he's called. The one who's like a sidekick in it, the computer whiz. She's like, like straight man, funny man, because she's like trying to be serious and he's like comedy sidekick.
Oh, yeah, when he eats all the donuts because it's
I
a
ate
show
all
of
their
force.
Oh, yeah. I think he's probably right, actually.
Probably, but, I'd eat all the donuts regardless.
Yeah, it just...
Yeah.
I know we sat and watched it and me and Tracy actually said that it wasn't as bad as we remembered. Now we're talking about it. Now I'm struggling to find bits that I think are good.
It's the beginning. That's because when you started watching it, you're like, yeah, this isn't bad.
It was okay when you had your major proper robots, didn't have your stupid frenzy and crap, and you didn't have humans in it.
Because this was a bit madder you were talking about with the phone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which annoyed the life out of me.
Yeah.
Although, isn't it the second movie when like all the electronics and things in their house like suddenly become the robots?
Yes, the living Xbox 360.
Yeah. that was a scene.
I don't even remember that.
I've seen it once. I'll never ever watch it again.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. A lengthy battle occurs in Mission City with most of the Decepticons being killed, but Megatron kills Jazz.
Oh,
I don't like Jazz much anyway. It's not very good music.
dooby-doo.
Mind you, it's a good Queen album.
It is the best.
Yes. He prevents Sam's attempted escape with the Allspark and begins to fight Optimus. Despite taking many hits, Megatron seems to get the upper hand. Optimus tells Sam to push the cube into his chest to ensure their mutual destruction, but Sam rams it into Megatron's chest instead, extinguishing his spark.
Did he have a spark?
If he wants the Allspark, he can have it.
Starscream and Barricade are the only Decepticons to survive the battle and escape.
Starscream's the coolest.
No, I actually didn't think this bit was bad. I think the section where they're both heading into the city, I thought was pretty cool actually, and the fighting sort of down the roads and stuff. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yes, because again, mainly robot.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's the big. I don't know what it is with that big sort of grabby claw thing on the back of it.
Bone Crusher.
That's
Yes,
right. I was trying
Bone
to remember
Crusher,
all
yeah.
night watching it last night what he was
They
called.
have the coolest names.
Yes. Attention.
But yeah, you're right. It's when it's just robot. I know you sort of complained about Michael Bay's style that you can't really see what's going on, but it's definitely. I think it was better that those. We're kind of contradicting ourselves now.
You're the only one talking.
Well, no, because Darren was saying that he thought it was better when it was humans versus robots, and now we're sort
No, I'm
of saying,
like, story-wise, it's better when it's only robots.
yeah.
Yeah.
But when they were fighting, you can't really see what's happening all that well.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, I did think was pretty decent in it, and this isn't. I'm sort of really struggling for things. The CG work was actually really, really good.
Yeah, still held up.
It was
That's true.
really, really good. Although,
Yeah.
something's just popped into my head. Tracy and I both looked at each other and went, what the hell? So the bit when Sam and Michaela get taken away and Bumblebee gets taken away and Optimus drops down from underneath the bridge and he picks the glasses up.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right? So he picks the glasses up off the floor, the ones with the coordinates for whatever it is. Now, if you watch that section, 3 minutes earlier, Sam and Michaela were sat in his hand, and the pair of them sat quite comfortably in the palm of his hand.
Yeah. It wasn't like the door in Titanic.
Right? They're fully grown human beings. And then he picks the glasses up. You imagine a hand the size big enough to fit two people comfortably in it, how small those glasses would be. Yeah, they're not that small. They look like glasses that would fit Optimus Prime at that point.
Perspective.
It's, yeah.
Vin Diesel at the bottom of a helicopter.
Yes. Maddie, take us home.
Awesome. Optimus Prime salvages the remnants of the shard from the Allspark from Megatron's body. The United States government shuts down Sector 7 and disposes of the dead Decepticons in the Laurentian Abyss. Sam and Michaela then start a romantic relationship while the Autobots secretly hide out on Earth.
Dirty
Optimus... And Optimus sends a transmission into space, inviting any surviving Autobots to join them.
Great idea.
Apparently, there's a mid-credits scene that I didn't see on what we watched last night, but it shows Starscream escaping into space to rally the other Decepticons and summon them to Earth.
But yeah, so this part was great because the movie ended.
Yep.
It was all over and everything, and that was nice.
It wasn't as bad as I remember it being. It was watchable. Like, I remember I've gone at it so much over the years of doing this podcast, and then we watched it again last night, and I went, you know what, it wasn't actually that bad.
It's watchable if you've got something else to do at the same time.
Yeah, just on in the background, you can watch some cool robot fights every now and again. If you ignore all the cheesy crap.
If you ignore 90% of the
yes.
movie. Well, no, I'd say, well, let's be fair, like
50%.
89%.
55, yeah. 55% of the movie.
Yeah.
When I was waiting for my interview with Universal, they were playing this movie like on the TV screens in the Human Resources building. And I had enough time during my Universal interview to watch the entire movie.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Wow, I think that's part of the interview.
No, yeah,
you were still there.
They're testing your resolve. Right, if she can sit through all 2 hours and 23 minutes of this film, she's hired.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can handle one summer and guest service.
Yeah, she can handle a locker attendant role in Forbidden Journey.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's such a shame because, as I said, how much of a Transformers fan I am. These films should have been amazing. If they'd have been in the hands of someone who knew what to do with them, they could have been unreal. But I don't know what this fascination nowadays is with them feeling that if they make a film that they want to market at kids, that it has to have stupid, cheesy humour in it. And it's like, I'm not being funny, but you're making a film about kick-ass robots kicking each other's asses.
Kick-ass?
Well, I'm not American, so I'm not going to say kick-ass because it sounds weird.
Stupid.
That's enough. That's enough for any 10-year-old boy I know.
Right.
Yeah?
Like, what more? As a 10-year-old kid, what more would you want? You don't have to put cheesy jokes in it. And
no.
Uncomfortable masturbation conversations in the middle of it.
What the hell?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Because when like the Transformers cartoon when we were kids was pretty much all serious business in there, and you had those things like that G.I. Joe, those kind of things that were serious kind of things for kids, and they didn't have to like be lowbrow. And
no, it wasn't dumbed down for kids or anything. They got by just fine.
Like Bumblebee peeing on from Simmons from Sector 7.
That was ridiculous.
It's like I kind of understand why it worked, but because obviously the dog peeing on them earlier, it was a callback to that. But it just,
but we noticed there was like a nod to Bad Boys, didn't we? In it.
Oh yeah, there's a section in
there.
them.
Opens a whole world of questions, though, doesn't it?
What?
Like, they have fluids. Do they drink? Did you see like the car just like pull up to the river and just like?
I don't know what fluid was it.
Yeah, right. Was it like one of his essential fluids? Did somebody have to replace that afterwards?
You have to have an oil change, or was it just washer fluid? Radiator fluid? I mean, that's quite damaging.
It seemed like a self-contained system. It doesn't seem like you should remove any fluids from it.
But really, would the release valve be in the groin area?
Right?
Seriously?
Why are they so, humanized?
So many questions.
That I really don't want answering because I don't care.
I think it kind of proves the existence of God. But anyways.
Just so weird, isn't it? It's just such a weird... It
was
could have
disappointing
been
because,
so good. And they just aren't.
And I'm sure there's people out there that are screaming, "Oh my God, you are so wrong."
Well, just to give a perspective of how these films went on, because we've had 4 sequels and that spin-off. Tracy, how many have you actually seen?
2, but it might actually be...
No, you've seen 3. I know you've seen Dark of the Moon. Yeah, we went to see...
Oh.
Yeah, it took us three trips to the cinema before we went, nah.
Well, I'll be honest, Lee just says we'll go to the cinema and I just put my coat on.
Darren, how many have you seen?
3?
1.5.
Maddie?
I've seen all of them except for the newest one, the Bumblebee.
Oh, why?
Because she's young and daft.
Yeah. The one had a robot dinosaur. I thought that was pretty cool. But I also
Age of Extinction.
Dinosaurs.
I remember Jade going to see Age of Extinction with her grandma and going, "Oh my God, it's the greatest film ever." And Tracy was out one night. So I've seen 1, 2, and 3. And I was bored and I was flicking through Netflix and I went, "Do you know what? I'll give it a go." I got half an hour in and I fell asleep. I woke up when Tracy came in. It had already been on for an hour and 20 minutes. There was still about an hour and 30 minutes left and I just went, I can't do it. I can't watch any more of this. And I turned it off. So I got halfway through the 4th one and I'm done.
Which was the one with robot testicles?
Second one.
So why the hell did I see a third one? Because I was ready just to get up and walk out at that point. I think I went to sleep instead.
I literally have no memories of Dark of the Moon at all.
Don't even remember its existence,
I think
to be fair.
that was the one with John Malkovich in it.
Oh.
And Buzzsaw, it had Soundwave with Buzzsaw, the eagle-y thing, and it was it talked. It was a weird it was
Not
awful.
A clue.
That's literally about the only thing I remember about it.
Not a clue. I have erased that from my memory.
Apparently, they do very well in the Asian markets.
Yes,
and that's why they still
I can see that.
Yeah, they make the most money over there for sure. So.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Transformers the movie?
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yeah. Don't ever give me homework like that again. Otherwise, you're making your own tea and washing your own socks.
Can we next? Can we talk about Hitchcock? Just go to a retro version of this.
Yes.
Talk about Hitchcock and then watch all the Hitchcock movies.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yes.
We should do it with Shrek.
We've done Shrek.
Oh, that's right. Darn.
It's gone down. It started nice with Despicable Me, and then it went down. Shrek.
No, we started with Shrek.
Oh,
it went Shrek, Despicable Me, Transformers. The next one will actually be The Mummy.
So it's been more of a roller coaster than I thought.
I just realised there's one in there.
Yeah, that's the next one.
Oh, yeah.
And what's after that?
Fast and Furious.
And then?
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Right.
And then Men in Black. And then Simpsons.
Yeah.
And then E.T.
Yeah.
And then,
that's what I just suddenly realised I'm going to have to watch E.T.
And then nothing.
God, I'm going to have to watch E.T.
Anyway, while we cleanse our brains of Transformers,
there is not enough bleach in the world.
We will take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Mouse and Muggle Travel Company, our services are completely free to you. We don't just do Universal. We can do Disney. We can actually do anything. I don't know if anybody knows that. We can do anything. We can book absolutely anything, and it's super easy. We have a website. Just go to mouseandmuggle.com, and we have a link there for a free quote request. You just fill it out. That email comes straight to me, and either Robin or I will handle it, or if we're a little bombarded, then we'll send you off to one of our expert agents. But we'll take good care of you. So reach out to us at any time.
Welcome back, everyone, and now we will move on to the ride itself, which I think is going to be a much more positive conversation than what we had in the first half of the show. So let's get into a bit of the background of it. So, Maddie, will you start us off?
Yeah. So Transformers The Ride 3D was first opened at Universal Studios Singapore on December 3rd, 2011. And then subsequently at the Universal Studios Hollywood on May 25th, 2012. And then here in Florida on June 20th, 2013.
It seemed a no-brainer after opening the ride at Singapore and Hollywood to then bring it to Orlando. The ride was to be built in place of Soundstage 44, which was once home to Hercules and Xena, Wizards of the Screen, and Murder, She Wrote Mystery Theatre. Demolition of the soundstage began June 2012.
On May 2nd, 2013, the park announced that the ride would open on June 20th, 2013. On May 30th, 2013, technical rehearsals for the ride officially began, and it opened to the public on the projected date of June 20th, 2013, making it one of the quickest start-to-finish ride projects at Universal Orlando ever, taking around just 12 months to complete. Wow.
It was unreal. I remember, because obviously we'd been doing the podcast quite a lot, so we were focused on it quite a lot, and it was just unreal. I know the R&D work for it had already been done, but still to drop a building and build a building and then put an entire ride system inside it and have it open 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big building too. It takes up a lot of space.
Yeah.
So, Peter Cullen returned once again to voice Optimus Prime, but Frank Welker was brought back to reprise his role from the cartoons, replacing Hugo Weaving from the movie as Megatron. And then Dustin Layton, whoever he is, I have no idea, was brought in to voice the new Autobot and our ride vehicle, EVAC.
The ride vehicles developed by Oceaneering International are mounted to a track roaming platform that provides the forward motion to move the vehicle through each show scene. The yaw motor and the Stewart platform with 6 degrees of freedom attaching it to the platform allows the vehicles to move 360 degrees at different angles along the 2,000-foot-long track.
Each vehicle is fitted with a motor that controls the right side door through which guests board and leave. These vehicles are modelled after an Autobot named EVAC, and each vehicle accommodates 12 riders. Each row of 4 riders is restrained by a single lap bar.
Yes, which hurts when you're the biggest guy.
Yeah.
Queue and pre-show. The entrance to the ride at Universal Studios Florida can be found in the Production Central area. The first portion of the queue is a large collection of switchbacks. The later part of the queue is also a large collection of switchbacks. It's themed as a non-biological extraterrestrial species treaty, nest base. A series of signs and video screens are located within the area. The video screens play briefings from General Morshower, Bumblebee, Ironhide, and Ratchet, who explain that the Decepticons have come to Earth in search of the Allspark and are attacking the nest base in order to recover the fragments stored there. Optimus Prime concludes the briefing by introducing all of the Autobots that are featured in the ride.
Towards the end of the queue, guests are given a pair of 3D glasses. Once guests arrive at the loading station, they are grouped and loaded into a ride vehicle modeled on an Autobot named EVAC, whose mission is to take the Allspark to safety with navigational help from a squad of Nest recruits, the Riders.
Onto the ride itself. The ride begins with EVAC moving out of the loading station and making a turn. The vehicle approaches the first of 13 3D high-definition video screens, which depicts Ravage grabbing a canister containing the Allspark. EVAC spins 180 degrees to face the second screen, on which Bumblebee is fighting sideways for the Allspark, which ends up in EVAC's possession.
Why is he not fighting him face on?
I was thinking that. EVAC reverses into one of 2 elevator shafts, which ascend to the second level of the attraction.
Right, I'm going to jump in here at that point. That elevator section still blows my mind.
It's so smooth, it's untrue.
Because I still remember, Darren, when we rode it for the first time, because it was me, you, and Tracy and the kids, and we came off it, and I think because we did a live recording of our reaction straight off it, and I was like, did anyone notice where the elevator was? And none of us did. No. I think it took sort of 2 or 3 rides actually looking for it before you realise where that section actually is. It's done so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to take your glasses off and like look up because the perspective of the screen and everything shifts with the vehicle moving up, so you don't perceive it moving at all. It's really cool.
I'm surprised they've never thought about doing it with anything else before, like doing a 2-story building to cut down on the space, but using that similar sort of system. I'm sure they could.
Well, it does break down a lot there.
Really?
I'm going to say not a lot, but the few times that it has broken down there, it's really bad because they have to get the fire department out there because there's no like escape hatch from that area. So they actually have to have the like ladders brought in, have them brought down from there. So
have you had that happen?
No, not me. No, but
Maddie?
I remember watching it.
No, I've only been evac'd off of ET.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah, no, this is a big thing. This is like a 5 or 6 hour shutdown. And huge. Yeah, it's a huge thing when it happens.
Wow.
So. During the ascent, Optimus Prime battles Megatron, and Grinder chases Evac, who is furiously heading in reverse until Grinder's arm is broken off by a train, which is awesome. Megatron grabs Evac, and the two struggle until Megatron breaks a water pipe, which sprays the riders with water, which is not cool. You don't need to do that every ride.
They have to. It's either fire, water.
Sometimes we come in February.
Or both. Look, I remember riding Spider-Man when we came over in November 2009 just to get warm on the Doc Ock section because it was freezing.
Evac enters a dead-end pathway before reversing and turning to face another 3D screen. He does that a couple of times. He likes his dead ends there. Which shows Megatron firing a missile at Evac while continuing to fight Optimus. Hot air and fog generate the illusion of an explosion.
I think that bit's quite cool that they managed to throw in a slow-mo scene, but it doesn't feel weird.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, no.
Because it could feel weird, but it doesn't. It works really well.
Because slow-mo doesn't happen in real life, and you're supposed to be in real life. Yeah.
It is cool. I just wish, I've said this before, God knows how many times, I wish the 3D was as good, the 4K stuff, as it used to be. Because Darren, me and you have talked about it quite a bit, that in that digital projection stuff, it doesn't seem to come out at you like the old stuff used to.
Right. Yeah. And it's more of a depth thing.
Yeah. And this would have been amazing, but you don't get that in your face thing like you did if you look at something like T2 3D. That was the T1 million bits at the end. You literally felt like it was in your face, whereas you don't get that with this, and it's a shame.
Yeah, very true.
All right. Evac then heads through the hole in the building, which was caused by the explosion. Inside lies Devastator, who is trying to suck everything out of the building. Ratchet and Ironhide cover fire while Evac reverses and escapes the suction. Here, the Autobot sideswipe helps in the battle against the Decepticon Bone Crusher.
There you go.
Ah, he's my favorite. Devastator returns to the scene alongside Starscream. Evac escapes from Devastator a second time by going through him.
Just about any ride ever.
But Starscream grabs Evac and throws him across several city blocks before landing on a construction site and smashing into some drums, which release a cloud of fog, resulting in Evac asking the riders if they are okay.
Yes, we're okay.
Oh, man. that part is so cool. Like when the wind starts coming and like the ride vehicle turns around and you see him there and you're like, oh, yeah, we're going through. It's happening.
Yeah, this is the best part of the ride. Let's face it.
But that ride vehicle works so well because it feels like you're pulling against it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
and then you got the first sequence where you drop down and kind of escape them, like they said, like you escape and go down, you drop a level, and it feels like it. It does such a good job of making you feel like you free fell like a good 20 feet onto the ground.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you go straight through it, it's just so awesome.
And you do feel like you're hitting all of those grinding gears as well.
Yeah,
the vibrations are unbelievable.
And that is the closest to an actual robot versus robot fight scene. You know, from the Michael Bay movies is when you're going through the grinder. You can only see like metal parts and stuff.
Yeah. Oh my god.
The sound effects are really cool too.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and
I think that's my favorite part.
Yeah, and like you said, Bone Crusher is just so cool. It's just like a solid mass. Every time you hit it, it's just like hitting like a 1-ton thing. It's just awesome.
It's been far too long since I've ridden this ride.
I know.
Yes.
Not long.
For sure.
Optimus Prime and Megatron continue their battle in the construction site as Evac reverses away in an attempt to protect the Allspark. Starscream appears for a second time but is chased away by 2 Nest helicopters. Evac then returns to a second set of 2 elevators. During the descent to the ground floor, Evac forces the Allspark into Megatron's chest again, causing both to free fall to the ground when Megatron grabs Evac. Bumblebee saves Evac from destruction before Optimus Prime congratulates Evac and the riders on their mission.
And it's that Spider-Man end thing again, isn't it, with that And again, it doesn't work as well.
No, it's not nowhere near as effective as the Spider-Man
It's
one.
still cool,
Yeah.
but I wish we'd have gotten that animatronic at the end that we were supposed
That
to.
would have been so good.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine that? It's like, I know we haven't ridden it, but Skull Island, like you come at the end of Skull Island and there's that huge animatronic. To go around that corner and have an actual Optimus Prime animatronic roll up and transform in front of you would just been mind-blowing.
Oh, I need that so bad.
Yeah.
But you can understand why they didn't.
Yeah.
Because if it goes down, then the whole finale of the ride's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Well, then you just have it so you can just drop a screen
Yeah.
and have
Well,
it all
yeah.
happen on the screen instead. There you go.
Or Disco Optimus.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what it would end up being very
Yeah.
quickly. Yeah.
The last thing guests see before disembarking is the twisted wreckage of Megatron stuck in the ceiling near the exit, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then once the ride is complete, riders dismount. Just dismount, Evac, or just get out at the unload station. And
Like a horse.
Yeah.
Well, you have ridden it.
I suppose. Upon exiting the ride, guests are
good
greeted.
Evac, good Evac. Open those doors there. Good boy. All right.
Upon exiting the ride, guests are greeted with the Transformers Supply Vault gift shop, which sells items from the Transformers film franchise, the ride merchandise, and a variety of Transformers toys. And there is some cool
Yes.
merch in that
We
shop.
have dropped a few dollars in there.
There's a messenger bag I really wanted to drop $60
Yeah.
on last time we were in there, but I didn't. But the ride it's everything, the way I equate it is, it's everything good from the movies put into, it's like they've taken all the good things out of the film and made a 3.5-minute film out of it. and
So
put
that's
it-
basically
right.
all the good bits. So the film should be 3.5 minutes long.
Yeah, but they have. Like, there's a little bit of cheese in the queue, but the ride itself takes itself seriously. It's exactly
Yes.
what you wanted from those
Yeah.
films in the ride.
No, I agree.
Darren, where's this in your list of favourite rides?
Top.
It is top.
Of current, yes. Of the current rides there, yes.
Above the Mummy.
Yeah. Yeah. Nina's favorite is the Mummy. My
Okay.
favorite is Transformers. For that sequence that we talked about in there mainly. But the whole thing is cool when Starstream's dragging you along as well. That's
Yeah.
a lot of fun. It's so strange that ride vehicle gives you that feeling of flying through the air as well as it does.
Yeah.
When you hit those plastic barrels, it just really feels like you hit some plastic barrels.
Yeah.
So.
Maddie, in your list, where is it?
I think it's also at the top. Like, Universal Studios is the park that we go to like most often, and this is one of the rides that we ride every single time that we're there. Like, we would ride it during horror nights. I rode it last night. And yeah, and I always joke with my boyfriend that Optimus Prime is my other boyfriend. I love him so much. And that end quote where he's like, "Good job, freedom fighters." I'm always like, he called me a freedom fighter. No matter how many times I go on it, I'm always like, oh, I did that. I love
Oh,
it.
that's good.
Yeah.
Me, it's obviously been a while since I've been there, but top 3, definitely.
I think it's my 4. Men in Black's my favourite, then Forbidden Journey. It might even be 3. But there's still stuff we haven't ridden yet.
I need to go back and refresh my memory.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Fast and Furious is really going to knock it out. there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon. Hey,
Can't
Jimmy
wait.
Fallon, come on.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, I might do it too.
So excited.
I think a lot of the discussion that goes on about Transformers The Ride 3D is that comparison to Spider-Man. And it, like we did, when I asked all the Producers Club to do their list of screen-based attractions and in which order you should ride them to get the most impact, it was quite interesting to see the people that had Spider-Man higher than Transformers or people that had Transformers higher than Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I've always sat at a point where I think Spider-Man's a better ride overall, but I prefer Transformers.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say like Spider-Man makes better use of physical sets along with it.
Yeah.
And integrating those into the experience and the elements a little bit more, like the fireball, when they throws the pumpkin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of thing is maybe a little bit more effective on that side. But then from the technical aspect, like I said, like the feeling of it, I think it's much more effective on the Transformers side.
It's just more of an adrenaline rush. I think you come off it more pumped than you do out of Spider-Man. Has quite a few lulls in it, whereas Transformers doesn't.
Yeah, like where you're after you get hit by the what is the ray?
Oh, the
and you're just slowly ascending up the building. Yeah,
and
you're doing that ascension part. It looks cool, but yeah, it is like a really slow part.
Yeah, and then there's like a little bit just before I was going to say Aquaman. It's not Aquaman, is it? Hydro Man.
I wish.
But it's like cool little bits, like in Spider-Man, where he first jumps and he jumps on the ladder and then jumps on the front of your car.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I'd ridden it maybe 5 or 6 times I realised that ladder's actually a real ladder.
Yeah.
And they do. I mean, to be fair, Universal does use that exact same gimmick in Transformers. I don't know the Transformer that looks like a cheetah, the Decepticon.
Oh, Ravage.
Yeah, Ravage comes over the top of you, and you can hear it on the metal grating.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
On top of your head, you can hear him clunk, 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 and then he jumps down off onto the screen, and he jumps onto your car, and then onto the screen.
So
he
cool.
grabs the spot. So
I mean, you're in the middle of an action movie. Like Spider-Man is a superhero movie, but there's something different about being in the middle of like an action movie.
Yeah.
That it just has such a different feel.
And you're so fragile. Like everything else that's fighting is made of metal, like literally. And they're like, you stand no chance. Like, why did he think it was a good idea to take you on this mission?
It's also something about the animation too, because like Spider-Man, you can tell that's animated. Like the characters are very round, and they don't look like actual like human beings.
Yeah.
But there's something about this where like the city sets on the screen they look like you're actually in a city. Like there's not that animation cartoon drawing of it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just much more realistic and much more like real.
I think the thing with Spider-Man over Transformers as well is like Spider-Man, you're in the scoop kind of watching what's going on, whereas with Transformers, you're inside one of the Autobots, you're part of what's going on, not really, you're kind of observing the fight, but you've got the Allspark, you're trying to protect it, so you're in the middle of the fight as well.
Yeah.
You definitely come off Transformers with feeling much more pumped than you do off Spider-Man. I'd be interested to ride one after the other, actually, just to see.
Yeah.
And the people that work on Transformers are always hyped.
Yes.
The people that are loading you on, like they do like the military style load.
I love that.
And they love doing it too. Like okay, you get to for one shift, you get to yell at the customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you couldn't really do that on Spider-Man, though, could you? There's not really a theme to loading you into the scoop, whereas for Transformers, it works perfectly.
Yeah, and it gets everybody on there really fast. It improves the load time and everything. Yeah. And then at the end, when you get off, they're like, whoa, they're like, everybody's going nuts. So I really
that's what I love about coming to theme parks in America, because the British, we're so reserved, and you'll never get, when you come back in on any ride with everyone cheering and wooing and hollering and stuff, everyone's like, jolly good. Yes, lovely. Now, on to the next ride, dear. Whereas when we come out to there, it's like, I love cheering and like clapping when you come back in. It's brilliant.
That's the funniest thing. I never, like growing up, I never noticed that difference between Universal and Disney. Like Universal, after every single ride, they clap for you. And at first, when I first noticed it, I was like, wait, this is strange. But now that I'm going all the time, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, and then it's true they don't do it there at Disney. Wow.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. But I also love the difference in like the loading area and the unloading area. Like the loading area, the building is like pristine and everything. And then you're coming back in, there's like, the ninja stars in the wall and like there's like scrapes everywhere. And you're like, I was just in a battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a good, and like you say, I think the argument that people have had is why would you use the same ride system for 2 rides literally in parks next to each other? And I think even if you rode one straight after the other, I don't think you go, oh, that felt like Spider-Man, or ride Spider-Man and go, oh, that felt just like Transformers. I think they are different enough that they do stand on their own merits.
Yeah, the average person I don't think is going to realize for the most part that they're the same thing.
No.
So.
No.
Just us nerds.
Oh, I really want to ride it again. It was what I was watching the YouTube ride through last night, and I was just like, oh, it's been far too long.
It
It's been
was so
like
good watching that.
3.5 years since the last time we rode that ride, and it's killing me at the moment.
So soon.
If you went and got a second and third job, you could be going every year.
Oh, couldn't I be dead?
Oh, I'd have the insurance money.
Yeah, Tracy be going every.
I've been living there. Yes,
yeah,
I
I was the same move.
Got any final thoughts from anyone? Anyone got anything else they want to say?
First, and then, woo.
Yeah. I definitely enjoyed the ride much more than the movie.
Yes.
But I think that goes to show that a lot of people will be like, so let's take this Bourne stunt show for an example. You immediately go, Bourne, really? But that doesn't mean that attraction isn't going to be stellar. Like
That's
no one cared about Avatar, yet
Yeah.
everyone seems to say that is one of, if not the best attraction in Orlando at this point, and it's based on a property no one cares
That is
about.
an excellent point, actually.
So it just proves that you can take a film that the majority of us don't particularly like, but make a ride that's in pretty much all our top threes.
Yeah. Let's face it, stunt shows are exciting. We like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's a show as well at the end of the day.
I love the stunt shows. I know the company that's going to be doing the Bourne stunt show. Like, they're going to be casting the actors.
Oh, cool.
Because they're the same company that does the Waterworld show out in Universal Studios Hollywood.
Oh,
which is where,
they're awesome.
Yeah, which is where I started like all my photography and everything. And they are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet and some of the most talented people you'll ever meet.
Amazingly cool.
Yeah.
That's one reason I want to go out there so bad that, when we went to LA, we didn't get to go. And that's the one reason, everything else, more or less, I want to see, of course, I want to go to Courthouse Square and everything like that. But at number 2 is the Waterworld show. So
it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've said it before. Our friends Nikki and Gabe over from the theme park duo interviewed a couple of was one of them your friend, Maddie?
Yeah, they interviewed Thomas Vu and Nicole, who are so, so, so nice. They're great people.
Just remember that name, the theme park duo, by the way. We might have a little announcement to do with Nikki and Gabe shortly. I'll tease it. They're going to tease it on there shortly, but we'll leave it up in the air for the moment. But yeah.
Yes.
So there, Transformers The Ride 3D and the crappy movie that it was based on. It was interesting, actually, when I was thinking about watching it last night. Not thinking about watching it, I was watching it last night. I was starting to think, was it the first film we should have watched? Because obviously Devastator's in there, but Devastator doesn't come in until the second film. Is the Allspark in the second movie? I assume it must be because you were saying about the...
everything coming to life again.
Yeah, it must have been. I don't remember.
Think it is.
Because I remember we had Scott Smith on years ago from WDWNT, who was like a total Transformers nerd, and he told us where the ride fits into the continuity of the films. I can't remember where he said now. It's in our archive. Go and find it. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up. If anyone hasn't got anything else to say, we will wrap it up. Maddie, I know I didn't give you a chance last week. If people want to follow you on Instagram, where can they go? Because I think that's the place to follow you, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So you can follow me on my photography account, which is, oh man, this is a tough one. It's Willette Photography, and Willette is spelled OUELLETTE. So it's going to be Willette_photography.
I will put a link in the show notes, but definitely, you should if you're interested in Universal and Disney.
Oh yeah.
You have more free time on your hands than you should, young lady.
Yeah, I know.
I wish I got to go to theme parks as much.
Yeah. Well, now I have a job at each theme park, so this should be interesting.
Yes. But yeah, I know from following your stuff on Instagram last year, your Halloween Horror Nights coverage is fantastic, especially Academy of Villains.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you want to see a million pictures of Academy of Villains every day for the entire run of Halloween Horror Nights, Maddie's the one to follow.
Yes.
But
you really filled out their portfolios.
Yeah, they're absolutely amazing people. So
definitely.
It was easy to shoot for them.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Right. Well, that's going to wrap up episode 340. So for Tracy, Darren, Maddie, and myself, we will see you back here again next week.
Cut. Print. That's a wrap for another episode of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Never miss a show by subscribing on Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review while you're there. Not an Apple user? You can listen on Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, or your podcatcher of choice. Email us any questions or comments to podcast@uuopodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest. Just search UUO Podcast. Keep up with the latest news, rumors, and updates on our blog at uuopodcast.com. Thanks for listening. See you next week.